All right. Hello, everyone. And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Pastrami Nation Podcast. I'm Kevin, and joining me today is my son, Elijah. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. And Christian, how are you doing, man?
I am invisible, is what I am.
You're you're an
Yeah,
anomaly.
I know. Now I don't know how to get this back. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Really excited to talk about some Spider-Man. As y'all listening and watching probably already know. Spider-Man Across the Universe just opened up this past weekend, and it's open up to huge money. This thing's a hit already. But before we get into that, I want to thank you guys for checking us out. Um, Make sure to leave comments. Let us know how you guys like the show and join the conversation with us. That's why we do this. We love talking to you guys. We love chatting with everybody. And also like and subscribe wherever you're watching this, listening to this, wherever it is. Liking it, subscribing to it, sharing it helps us out a lot. um, Helps us get more eyes and more eyes on the show, more ears on the show, things like that. So yeah, today's episode is going to be all about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We're going to be talking about that. Then at the end, we're going to be doing a ranking of all of our favorite Spider-Man
I
movies.
do have a
Um,
quick question before we get into the Spider-Man stuff.
yeah.
Um, how was Ren Fair yesterday, you guys?
Oh, it was fun. Or so on Sunday.
Sunday, that's right.
Sunday we went. It was a lot of fun. It was a blast. We had the kids had never been. I haven't been since I was like honestly probably like 9 or 10. In California. But yeah, we had a blast.
I got a big turkey leg.
You got it. Well, we shared the turkey leg. We shared the turkey leg. You ate most of it
Nice.
though.
Yeah,
Got to mingle with the locals. It was a Scotland theme, so we got to meet.
Renaissance.
Yeah, we got to meet Queen Mary, the Mary
Of
Queen of
Scott, yeah,
Scots. Yeah,
right.
she was a character for sure. Um, but no, we it was a blast. We got to watch some jousting. Jousting's always fun to watch.
Always.
Um, yeah, I think we didn't. So they had 3 rounds throughout the whole day. We caught the first round. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make it to second or third. I don't know. We were on England side.
Yeah,
So I don't know how well they did, but it was like, was it England, Spain,
France.
France? Everyone is dogging on France. So
Oh yeah, we
and
were.
what was the other one? Norway or something?
No, not Norway. Ireland.
Was it Ireland? Oh
Yeah,
yeah. So we were aligned with England. Um, yeah, it was fun. It was a blast. Definitely going to go next year. Definitely going to really get into it next year, though. We're going to get all dressed up and fancied up and ready to go, and it's going to
me
be a
and him
blast.
have the bright idea of going as
I
assassins.
think we're going to do like an assassin.
Yes.
Yes, like work on the suits a little bit, the costumes, and make them really
Heck yeah.
I
Hell
definitely
yeah.
think that I'm gonna make mine more inspired by Kenway.
Kenway.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can do
Yeah.
Kenway. I think I'm going to do. I don't know yet. I think I might just do the classic, Ezio.
Ezio,
Yeah, I think that'd be really
hot
Nice.
cool.
hair.
Yeah. No, but yeah, we had a lot of fun. Certainly, um, going to be going back next year for sure. We went during because each weekend they have a different theme, right? So like it was
Yeah.
like fairy was this weekend, and then next weekend's pirates, and then I don't remember what the other weekend was, but we
I
went.
definitely want to go during the pirate one.
Yeah, the pirate one would be really
Yeah.
really fun. We went during the fairies, so
There are
yeah,
fairies around.
lots of fairies. The mischievous fairies. Never trust a fairy or a
Never trust.
witch.
Yeah, but you still make deals with both.
Yeah, never trust a witch, but it's okay to make a deal with them. Don't trust them. Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for
Somehow there's
asking. Yeah, we had a
logic
blast.
in there.
There's lots of logic in there. There's lots of logic, and of course, the Friday before we went to Ren Fair, we were able to watch Spider-Man
He was gonna say Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know if is it just me? Have I frozen in time, or is it Kevin? I don't know. Let me check the comments now. Yes. We all collectively, not all at the same time or together, but we've all watched Across the Spider-Verse, which is the main topic of. And there I go. Wow, technical difficulties galore. Yeah, this is the main topic of the day. So, if you've seen, what's up, Pablo and Sarah? By the way, hello. I don't know if I'm talking over anybody. I don't know what's happening, but on my end, Kevin and Eli are frozen. Let me know in the oh, and now it's just me. Now it's just me, which is great. Cool. Yes, we're here to talk about Across the Spider-Verse, which was I guess that's a spoiler. Super fantastic on my end. I was lucky. I didn't realize that it was coming out that week, or last weekend, so I ended up buying tickets like literally the day before. Thank you to my students that informed me of its release date, and thank you AMC for having good seats available for us. But yeah, it was very, very good. I'm really curious to hear what you guys all have to say about it. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know if you guys haven't seen it yet. We will be getting into spoilers, but we're going to save that for a little bit later in the show. So you don't have to worry about it right now. We'll give you guys fair warning before. Okay, look at this. You see this? What is happening right now? I will give you guys fair warning long before we ever start talking about anything spoilerific. Yeah, so, but once we do, all bets are off. So, which I'm excited about because we got to talk about that Ghost Rider scene. It was so intense. We'll save that for later. I'm just kidding, guys. If you haven't seen it, there we go.
All right, I don't know
Hey!
I apologize. What's up, Pablo? What's up, guys? Thank you guys for being patient. Sorry, but I don't know what's going on with my computer. This thing's getting old, and I think it's time to upgrade for a new one.
I totally agree. I can help with the looking.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man across the universe, across the Spider-Verse. Nothing like live podcasting, right? This movie opened huge this weekend, $120 million haul for the weekend. Comparatively to the first one made $30 million opening weekend. This thing just came out of the gate and is just taken over every facet of pop culture that we have right now. It's all over TikTok. It's all over Facebook. It's all over everything.
It came out as a storm.
It did. And it's well deserved to all of this praise that it's getting. And before we even get into the review, or before we even start talking about it, I want to let people know, like, believe the hype. The hype is real on this thing. You're going to watch it and you're going to be blown away, especially if you like the first one. If you like the first one, you're going to love this one. And even if you didn't like the first one as much, which I don't know why, but in case you didn't, this one will certainly bring you back in.
Who didn't like the first one?
I don't know.
Please email me directly.
Raise your hands, please. Let us know. But yeah, so Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, again, I don't have to tell you guys this, but the sequel to 2018's Into the Spider-Verse, continuing the story of the Spider people, mainly Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, as they kind of traverse their own Spider-Verses, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out their lives, things like that.
And then Peter B slightly has that same situation.
Well, yeah,
not a lot.
Yeah, no, but I'm focusing on the main right now. Then we talk about all that. What's up, Arturo? How's it going? Nice to see you. But yeah, it's just a further continuation of the first movie. So before we do get started, also, I want to mention that I want to let people know, just so that they're aware, because a lot of people were really caught off guard by this. But it is a two-parter. So you will be seeing, so this is part one. Part 3 is coming out in March of next year. So when you go into it with that mindset, and then when it ends with that to be continued tag, you won't be thrown off guard. So just making everyone aware in case you didn't know. So Christian, what did you think of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
It was meh. I didn't know. It was easily so far. We're about halfway through the year. Easily top 3 of the year. I've kind of compiled all of the movies that I've seen in the theater the last year, and I've seen a lot more than I realized. But yeah, I would put that. I would say of this year so far, it would be Across the Spider-Verse at number 1. Guardians and then Sisu. I don't know in what order necessarily. But man, it's just, I don't know. I've talked about this before, and I'll just like one more time. But yeah, I didn't trust Fox to be able to pull this off a second time.
Sony.
I'm so sorry. Yes, Sony.
It's okay. It's okay.
I completely unfounded. Also, I give all the credit to like Lord and Miller. Who time and time again have just proved themselves. It's really unfortunate that we didn't get to see their full solo movie. But like 21 Jump Street, Lego Movie, like boom, 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 boom. Like these guys are incredible. So I think now we can hopefully stop doubting these guys with what they do. But yeah, I was a firm, like after the first movie, I'm like, the only reason why this worked so well is because Sony kind of just let them make something without interfering. And I was convinced that if a sequel was to happen, they're going to interfere and ruin it. I was just like, let's just not do sequels. Let's just leave this amazing movie by itself. And as far as I'm concerned, they did it. They did it, and they did it. I don't know. I think it's too fresh for me to say I like it more than the first one. I think I need to see it a couple more times because I adore the first one, but I love this movie. It's fantastic. It's just so good. Like the theming, the pacing, like this is storytelling 101. If you want to get into like writing, or you want to get into like your own, like if you have characters you want to develop, like this is a clinic on like, between the first 2 films of like how to tell like a really thoughtful, heartfelt story that's very character driven. It's beautiful. Like beautiful.
Absolutely. 100%. Arturo says, I thought it was good. I saw it on Saturday and saw part 1 again on TV on Sunday. Yeah. Arturo, I think all 3 of us on this show tonight are going to be in total agreement with you. So I'm the same way, Christian. One thing that boggles my mind, like just completely boggles my mind, these 2 movies, and yes, it does have a lot to do with Lord and Miller, the animation angle, things like that, really shows that Sony knows what to do with their characters. They know how to handle Spider-Man. Why haven't they handled their characters this well before? I don't understand, especially even their newer property, right? You have like Venom, Morbius coming up, Craven. It kind of blows my mind that they can't put the same amount of work and the same amount of heart into those movies that they do with something like this. And yeah, again, it is the Lord and Miller of it all, right? Like those guys can't, they might miss in the future, but they've never missed so far, right? All those things you mentioned. They also did an animated series called Clone High, which is coming back for a reboot a few years ago. They know what they're doing, and their hearts are there. And it's such a bummer we didn't get their solo movie, because I feel like we would have gotten a Star Wars movie that stood out and that was really special, like something really great.
I feel like if George was still,
go ahead.
I felt like if George was still the heading George Lucasfilm, I felt like he would have let them do it.
Yeah, I think so too. And that was also kind of George's thing. Like he kind of let other people kind of have their turn. But anyways, back to Spider-Man. And so I do wonder, like, what I want Sony to get on this track for all of their movies, right? Whether it's Venom, whatever it is. Like, you're right. You can only hope. And I hope that they do take a step back and look at what they have, the characters that they do have, and treat them properly, treat them the right way, treat them the way Spider-Man or any of these characters should be treated. All of these characters should be treated with the same reverence as Spider-Man, right? Again, like Venom, all those guys, they deserve to be treated spoken in the same breath as Spider-Man, right? Like, I mean, that's just the nature of them, but they should be. This movie, the more and more I think about it, I saw it on Friday. Today's Tuesday. The more and more I think about it, and I'm listening to the score, I'm listening to the soundtrack, I'm reading all these interviews and everything. I absolutely love, 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 love this movie. I think it is a perfect Spider-Man movie. I'm a big fan of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, specifically Spider-Man 2. And that's kind of held my top spot for a long time. But we'll talk about that later. But this nudges things quite a bit. Like you said, the themes are fantastic. The animation is just,
oh my God.
Exactly. That's the reaction everybody.
It's beyond, like, even just still to this day watching, it's been 5 years, and every time I watch Into the Spider-Verse, still, and like it's different now. It's new. It's like, again, they like kind of broke the mold again, and it's just like, how do they keep doing it?
Well, and it's like, I remember when the first one came out, people were talking about like how this is like the next level of animation. Like nothing had changed animation this much since the original Toy Story, right? Like Toy Story set a new standard for CGI animation. Into the Spider-Verse specifically did that too. We see all these other movies coming out with that kind of style. You have like Mitchell's versus the Machines. You have Puss in Boots. You have the upcoming Ninja Turtle movie. You have all these movies that are trying to replicate kind of what Spider-Verse did in a really cool way, though, right? Like they're not Mitchell's versus the Machines did it, but they did it in such a beautiful, like, heartfelt way that it didn't feel like it was ripping it off or anything. Because I feel like that was the next kind of big movie to use that.
And that was Lord and Miller too, right?
It is Lord and Miller too, yeah.
Yeah.
But like something like Puss in Boots wasn't Lord and Miller, but they took the right things from Spider-Verse and they put it into their movie. They didn't just make something pretty without depth or heart. So another thing about this movie is that it really hits that Pixar level of emotion, right? Where it doesn't talk down to anybody. It's very smart. The conversations that people have feel like real conversations, no matter how crazy or bizarre the situation is. Like, I brought up Toy Story earlier, but Toy Story is one of those movies where two characters can have a heartfelt, emotional conversation. Even though they're toys, it still works, right? And you have to be able to do that. And this movie does that because, I mean, let's sit back, right, and look at it, and it's like, oh, it's like a movie with just a bunch of spider people, like, goof, you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't really work, if you never heard of Spider-Man, you're like, that's kind of the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But then you watch it and you're like, wow, like this, like real conversations, real characters, has a real heart at the center. My favorite relationship kind of within the movie was between Miles and his mom. I thought that was just a Rio. I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was really, really well done. And that's the thing about this movie too, is that it has all these great animation and all these amazing action sequences, and the music is loud and it gets you pumped and you're going. But it truly is those moments in between, the really quiet, heartfelt conversations that people are having, that make this movie work as well as it did. And that's really where I kind of landed on it. Like those are the moments that I remember from this movie, more so than the action, more so than the music, more so than the animation, so to speak. It's the conversations, it's the dialogue, and the way they're saying it to each other and the way they're talking. The clock tower scene is one of my favorite pieces of animation ever. When it's just him and Gwen just having a conversation and they're walking and it goes upside down and you see the cityscape, just so pretty. And it's moments like that make this movie really, really, really work for me. Eli, I know you liked it a lot, but do you want to add anything or?
No, I thought the animation was great. The score and music went really well with it. As usual, I like how they went extra steps to make sure that every Spider person was at least a little bit more different, whether it be the art style or the sounds. Like they specifically changed each Spider person's thwip sound, like their webbing.
It's insane.
And of course, we have all of the, like, most of the Spider people have some type of different art style, especially if they're coming from a previous type of media, like Spectacular Spider-Man or Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. There's that funny Spider-Man PS4 cameo in there.
I mean, just to kind of expand on what Eli was talking about, I think it's incredible that they were able to do so many different art styles. Like, I think you kind of see it in the very beginning with Gwen, and you're like, oh, okay. And like, like you could put two and together, like this is her world. But then when you see Vulture, then it's like, okay, like this is awesome.
It's insane, like how, like, legitimately every world you went to felt completely different from one another. And like Gwen's world was easily my favorite. Just Moonbottom was really cool too.
So cool.
But I think Gwen's world, like, just with the moods, the way it all changed and stuff, the pastel colors. It was just so beautifully rendered, and it looked like a painting. Like every single frame in this movie, we can stop it at any time and just print it out, and it's a beautiful piece of art.
I saw an interview with Haley Steinfeld, and she was talking about when she was in the booth recording, the directors were kind of explaining to her like Gwen's world, and they were like, as her emotions changes, you're going to see the backgrounds change, and she was just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. But like, she's like, I couldn't visualize what they were trying to tell me. She was like, but then when I finally saw the movie, I'm like, that's exactly what they were telling me in the booth. She was so excited. It was like so. It's, I don't know what an inventive, beautiful, really cool thing to do.
Really cool thing to do. And I know I kind of brought this up earlier, but the score to this thing by Daniel Pemberton is one of the greatest scores ever. It's the way he uses sounds in the music. So what I mean by that is like the way so at the beginning of the movie, we open and we see like Gwen, she's drumming away, right? Like she's in the band, she's doing her monologue, drumming. But like, it's just so crazy how much part of the score that drumming is at that opening scene. If you're just listening to the score, the way it blends into the drums, because a lot of movies, when you have like a drumming moment or something like that, that's not part of the score. That's just a totally different sound that's going on. It's not what's going on in the background. Like his score incorporates all of that. So even the drumming, and like you hear the emotion behind it, you don't hear her talking, but the quiet score in the back, but you just hear the drums come on and just start doing their thing. And it's just this incredible symphonic masterpiece that he created. And then certain themes come back from like the first one and things like that. So we're all on that page that we love it. Let's get into, so right now, guys, I'm just letting you all know, listening to this or watching this, we will be getting into spoilers now. I don't think we're going to get into anything too, well, actually, I think we might be getting into some pretty heavy stuff. As far as spoiler goes, if you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it and come back and then come listen to it. We have an audio version that comes out in about a week or so. So definitely check that out. Or you can just watch the video again as while you're sharing it with all your friends. But yes, so let's talk about the story a little bit, like really kind of get into the story a little bit more. So obviously at the beginning of the movie, we see like, Gwen, she's getting into some trouble in her world. We kind of see her Peter Parker moments, losing the person that she loves. And then that's when the movie kind of becomes about her and her dad, like that kind of relationship. Like she, the dad's he's a lieutenant, right? At that point, or he's not the chief yet.
Yeah, he's not captain yet.
No, not a captain yet.
Yeah,
he's not a captain yet because he was supposed to get it, but he stepped down. And he sees everything go down, and he tries to arrest her as Spider-Gwen. Spider-Woman. He has no idea that it's his daughter. But then she then she shows him who she is, right? Yeah, like right there, and then it caused that rift between them.
Teary-eyed, he still trying to
he still tries to arrest her. And I thought that was a really, really kind of beautiful moment. It was tragic and very sad. But then, we come into, she escapes with Miguel O'Hara and another
Jessica
Drew into the Spiderverse. And they're kind of on a mission to make sure that things kind of go like they're supposed to. Like, you learn later on in the movie that canon is, that's another thing I love about this movie, about how they use Spider-Man's canon to tell the story. Like things have to happen to Spider-Man in order for him to be Spider-Man. And those main things are obviously he has to lose someone that he loves, and the police captain.
Yeah.
The police captain will eventually die in some shape, way, or form.
Especially if they're close to
Spider-Man. So yeah, anyways, they're off to do that, and then we finally come back to Miles. We kind of see where he's been. He's struggling with school and all this stuff. Then he comes across the Spot, who is the villain of the week, quote unquote. When you first, Jason Schwartzman was fantastic as the Spot, I thought. I think he brought some levity to the role, but also got very, very menacing as the story went on. And every time I think of him, I just think of Gideon. Scott Pilgrim. But yeah, you think he's this villain of the week. Miles is making fun of him, and then suddenly, Gwen comes to visit Miles in this universe, but she's kind of on this mission to do this other thing. But her and Miles kind of reconnect. She's about to leave, and Miles decides to follow her because he doesn't want to let her go again. And then he gets pulled into the Spider-Verse. He gets pulled into where do they go straight to Mubatan from there? Yeah, because that's where she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Came with you." So that's kind of like, and basically the Spot isn't the villain of the week that everyone thinks he is. He's going around to different Spider-Verses and basically trying to destroy them all. And that's obviously where the issue lies. And then I love how this character, he's a villain of the week, but like I said earlier, by the end of the movie, you're like, this guy's gonna like destroy like everything. Like he's that like scary, that menacing.
Miguel's focusing on the wrong thing here.
Yeah, Miguel's focusing on the wrong thing. So yeah, you eventually find out that Miles Morales was not supposed to get bit by the spider, that spider came from another universe, and that Miles
42.
Universe 42. The funny thing is, we went to this movie and I joked to my wife because I have a 42 shirt from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it was for my 42nd birthday, and I'm still 42 for like another month, and I put it on. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to wear this much longer, even though I am totally, but I put it on, not even realizing, like, as soon as I get there, I'm like, he's got a Spider-Man shirt on. I'm like, I should have dressed, didn't you? No. Oh, I think you could have at least played along.
I
thought you did.
You looked at me and asked me.
But no, I wanted to wear like a Spider-Man shirt, but I didn't have one that was ready. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear this one. And little did I know how much the number 42 was going to have to do with this movie.
We actually got two foreshadowings in the first movie about the universe.
What?
The first one being the number that was being laser printed onto the spider and the spider glitching.
Oh, yeah. No, I know the number 42 was a part of it.
And then when Miles tries to take the leap of faith for the first time, and hits the numbers off the building, it's 42.
Yeah, and that's got to be a Hitchhiker's reference. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's not.
I do. Okay, so like it is kind of cool because showing that the spider itself was actually glitching in the first movie is a total it was really setting up because how much of this did they have planned out. I don't know that I mean I get it because it's a good tool for the audience. It's just super clear, but the fact that the spider has 42 etched on him and he's from Universe 40, it's like if we all had 616 tattoos. You know what I mean? So, but or 99999 tattoos.
19.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. But yeah, God, man, it's just really tight. It doesn't. There's times where like the hero kind of doesn't have much to do in a sequel. Like it's like let's just take the time away from this. Let's focus on the new villain. But instead, this really just expands more on Miles, on Gwen. Obviously, we get some new characters, but we're also expanding the universe. There's the universe that we've already established. We're just getting more. So it's just beautifully done. I did not see Fast X, right? I did not see. I don't know. Yeah. So from what I heard, obviously they're trying to set up for like a 2 or 3 part finale. So this also ends in a cliffhanger. But I heard that basically the people at Fast and the Furious can take a lesson from Across the Spiderverse on how to end a movie with a cliffhanger and not be completely infuriating for everybody.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I don't know. I'm going to assume that Fast X ends with like, you know what that means, and it's a close up of Vin Diesel's eyes, and he's like, and he's about to say family, and then just cuts to black, and then it says,
yeah. I love that.
And it says, Dom will return.
Yeah, you brought up themes earlier. I kind of want to come back to those a little bit because this movie actually dives into some pretty heavy themes, both for. So one thing that's great about this movie is that everybody can find something to grasp onto in it, and whether you're parents or a child or just an adult or a kid, or like one thing this movie does so well is I can't even fathom imagine you live somewhere like India, right? And you get all these superhero movies and stuff like that, but you don't get a version of that character that's for you, right? Like you get the American, everyone knows Peter Parker, New York. But imagine being that kid, like seeing Spider-Man India for the first time on screen. Like that's some like super powerful stuff right there. So there's, that's one thing I love about this movie too, is like everybody can see themselves in a character, right? You can pick in any character and someone can relate to that character. The themes of this are very much about, growing up and family and kind of letting go, right? Not letting go, but like letting people, growing up. Like it's all about growing up. Even the parents have a lot of growing to do to be able to let their son go out into the world and become his own person. That takes growing up, right? That's not easy. That's something crazy. One of the things that really struck me though is the idea that Miles isn't supposed to be Spider-Man, but he is taking on the responsibility of Spider-Man because that is what he feels is the right thing to do. Like that is what he wants to do. Like that is what he needs to do. I felt like that was a really good kind of, we all have dreams. We all have these big goals that we want to get to, and everyone our whole lives going to tell us we're not supposed to do that. You can't do that. Like you have to be, nothing wrong with any of these, but it's like, you have to have a trade job. You have to go out there. You have to work in an office. Like those are the things you're supposed to do. And I felt like it was good to see someone like Miles who, he's not supposed to be doing this, but this is what he wants to do. And he's getting good at it. So he's going to keep doing it. Like basically screw the haters.
As he says, nah, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah. And I thought that was actually really powerful too. Just that basic idea of, just not letting other people tell you how you're supposed to live your life. And I know that's a common theme, but the way this story tells it is like, the theme, the big theme of the first one, and even to this one to an extent, was anyone can wear the mask, right? Like anybody can become who you want to be. You just have to work. You have to work. You have to go out there and you have to get it. this one kind of turns that on its head a little bit and is like, well, no, you can't become anything you want because you're supposed to be doing this. But again, it's all about fighting back against that and doing your own thing anyways, which I think is just such a powerful message in general. I think that's great. Arturo says, stroke to me that he wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man, like saying someone shouldn't have been other superheroes. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like all of these heroes, all of these superheroes, and as horrible as it sounds, are all kind of just in the wrong place at the right time, right? Like, I mean, yeah, but Batman, I don't know if anybody knows how his parents died, but let's get into it. No, just kidding. It's like all these superheroes have these tragedies that befall them in order to become the people they are. And Spider-Man's no exception to that. So I think Miles is easily one of my, like, I love Peter Parker. I grew up with Peter Parker. I'm a Peter Parker stan. I love him. I think he's great. But Miles is like so close up there that it's not even funny. Gwen is so far up there. It's not even funny, especially after watching these movies. Like, these movies are what really cemented. I knew who Miles was. I knew who Gwen was. But these movies really have cemented like those characters as like top tier Spider-Man characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add to that? Any of that?
Nothing that I haven't said before.
Okay. Well, no. In all honesty, Arturo says, in all honesty, you should tell your own story. Don't let anyone tell. I'll tell you, yes. And that's, I've struggled with that a lot in my life. I think we all have. And, the job I'm at right now isn't particularly the job I'm like destined to have.
He's a parent.
Well, yeah, I am a parent, but a bunch of other stuff too. But yeah, I thought it had a really powerful message. I thought it had a great story. I think it's just a beautiful movie all around. I think it's honestly a perfect movie. Like you said, Christian, you want to study how to make a movie. Like, if you're trying to be a writer or whatever, you need to watch this and study this. And I think this certainly is. I was telling them earlier, this is, for me, this is this year's Everything Everywhere All at Once. Right? Like, this is
another multiverse movie.
And these two movies get it, right? Like, they know how to do multiverse that works and that makes sense and that isn't just like remember this or remember that. Like,
it's funny that you bring it up because they're so huge. They're big movies that kind of cover a lot of stuff and, like, again, interdimensional like stories, but then at the heart of both of them is just this really sweet, sincere, relatable like family story, like and I like you said, I loved all the stuff with Miles and his mom. I really loved the Gwen and Miles stuff. Like, it was just so sweet. Like, I love when she first gets there and she's like, oh, what's this? She's going through his sketchbooks and then he's like, and she's like, oh, she's missed you too. And then she's like, what's this? She's like, oh, that's a collectible. And she opens it. And like, he's like, ugh. I'm like, I felt that. I
did too. I felt that in my heart, in my soul. I think both of my kids looked at me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Arturo says, me too, Peter Parker fan, but Miles, Gwen, and even like Spider.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about Spider-Punk or Spider-Man India. Hobie.
So cool.
It took them like 3 years to finalize the design for him.
Yeah. Hobie was incredible. Daniel Kaluuya was just insanely cool. And I can't remember his name. The one who was the voice of Spider-Man India
from Deadpool, and he's been in
I just found that out like yesterday. I was like, wait, what?
I heard his voice in
that Chai-Tea bit.
Yeah, I was sure it was him, but I didn't have confirmation.
Cassie knew. Cassie was like, I thought his voice sounded familiar. I was like, you got that out of that? I think my brain was just like everywhere else on screen that I wasn't focused on that.
I didn't put two and two together on Daniel Kaluuya because it was until the end credits. I'm like, of course he was Spider-Punk, because I forgot he was in the movie altogether. Yeah, and it was just like he was just such a cohesive character, and like I was never removed of like, how did they do that, or like who is this, or like I was just like purely
like I knew
into him.
like another, like I knew Andy Samberg was going to be Scarlet Spider.
See,
but like I didn't even like I knew it before going in, but like while watching it, because normally in a lot of these animated things you do that, right? You're like, oh, that's such and such
that's
voice,
Jack Black.
That's Antonio Banderas or whatever, you know? But like in this one, you complete Oscar Isaac, whatever, all that stuff. This one you just get so lost in it that it's not even like they are those characters. Like this is like that's how like insane it is. Like they are the characters. It's crazy, and it does that like a good animation should.
Arturo, to kind of expand on what you said, me too, Peter Parker fan, but Miles Gwen and even like Spider-Punk. So just also to expand on like what Kevin was talking about, I think this is a real testament to like just how well written Spider-Man is as a hero, right? Like I think there was a big game changer. You know, I'm going to try not to get super long-winded, but you know what I mean? Like if we think about before like the Marvel stuff, if we're looking at the DC stuff, I'm not bagging on the DC stuff. I've loved DC too. No. But you know, they're super mythical. They're gods. You know what I mean? It's almost like unrelatable. And then here comes like Marvel, like, you know, we get Fantastic Four, we get Spider-Man. Like Stan Lee talked about this over and over again. He's like, there was a reason why I put a full mask on him. He was like, because I want everybody to look at him and think that could be me. You know what I mean? Like the problems that he goes through, right? Like just balancing his life, you know what I mean? Like the sacrifices he has to make to do the right thing. Like that's something we can all kind of understand. You know what I mean? Like just burning it on both ends, or like, you know what I mean? Like I think, and to expand it with somebody like a Miles Morales, you know, to expand it with and update it with a Gwen Stacy. I almost said Stefani. Oh my god. But yeah, it's really cool to see that like it's ripe for that, because it was always grounded in like the contemporary youth of our society. So it's why I think you can keep doing this. You know what I mean? And it'll keep working because at the heart of it, it's a human story. You know, I love Batman. But I think that was ultimately the difference between I love all the Arkham games, right? Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight. I love them. Yeah. But like none of them hit me the way the PS4 Spider-Man hit me. And to me, I think the main difference is heart. Right, like I love Batman, but like I don't connect to Batman the way that I connect to Spider-Man. Right. Like I don't know what it's like to be a rich billionaire. You know, like I kind of know what it's like to be a psychopath, but that's about my extent of like relating to Batman. So, but Spider-Man, I get. You know, I think we all do, and I think that's again over and over and over again for the last 20 years. You know, we were just movie after movie. You know,
absolutely, no, 100%. Also want to give a shout out, really big shout out, not only for a cameo in this film. Again, we're in spoilers, so if you're not watching this, but just a big shout out to Donald Glover just for existing, right? Because honestly, like I don't know if you've read the story about how Miles Morales was created. Brian Michael Bendis used Donald Glover from Community when he gets out of his bed in his Spider-Man's pajamas as the model for Miles Morales. This whole thing revolves around Donald Glover because, when The Amazing Spider-Man was being cast, fans were really petitioning for him to go for Peter Parker. Didn't happen for one reason or another. I think I unfortunately know why, but they were like, well, we don't have to, even in the comics, they were like, we don't have to necessarily change Peter Parker. Let's just create a new character that's just as influential and just as powerful as Peter Parker. And they, tasked Brian Michael Bendis was watching Community, and he saw that, and he was like, with all the hoopla about Donald Glover and stuff like that, he just got the idea in his head, like, let's do this. So that's when they created Miles Morales, and it was and it's all kind of history from there. And when you really think about it, like, Miles isn't that old of he's still a fairly new character when it comes to the whole canon, right? Yeah. Like he's 2011, I think, was his first book. Like his first appearance.
Yeah, it's crazy. 2011. Now it just feels like he's been around forever when you think
it does.
Yeah, it is pretty contemporary.
100%. And I think
I do love
Yeah.
that part of No Way Home because I think like Jamie Foxx says it to Andrew Garfield. He's like, man, I always thought Spider-Man was black. Queens helping out
Love
poor
that.
folk. And then Andrew's like, yeah. But it makes sense. It
It
always
does.
made sense, and especially if you're going to update him, then if it's somebody that so many people can look at and like relate to, that's
100%.
really cool of Marvel. So.
100%. I brought this up before. I brought it up on another show we did, but like the fact that Miles for a whole generation of kids is their Spider-Man. Like that's they know Peter Parker, but Miles Morales is their Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and I think that's super cool. Like that's very cool.
They've done things. I don't know if you guys keep up with the Spider-Man comics.
Not as much, no, unfortunately.
The last I kind of was paying attention was during like Superior Spider-Man, which I actually thought was a really, really cool story. If you guys don't know, Doc Ock kills Spider-Man and then puts his brain into like Peter's body. So now it's
actually clean off.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's super funny and crazy. But then like they were also, I didn't realize this, but like Peter, they kind of made Peter like a Tony Stark character now. So obviously using his intelligence, and now he's like this. He owns this like huge corporation, like I forget what it's called, and like he's super rich now. And I'm like, that takes away. I mean, he can't be poor forever. I get it. You gotta love your character, but like I don't know that that's the direction. I don't know. What do I know? I feel like that's weird. Yeah,
100%. So yeah, there you have it, guys. That's how we feel about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic, and you all need to go see it. There will be a review up at pastramination.com soon for the movie, written by me. I'm trying to figure out, focus my thoughts because there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to go rambling on forever like I am right now. So I thought right now we'd actually get to the fun part. We are going to do our Spider-Man film rankings. Do you have one ready?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay. All right. So Eli, I'm going to start with you.
Wow.
I'm going to start with you. Look at here. I'm gonna let you kind of in on this real quick, just so that hold up. Let me grab. So just you don't have to go off this.
I know.
But just pick the movies real quick. Remember there. What's that?
Sorry.
No, actually, do you want to go, Christian? Are you ready?
No. My iPad. I had the volume turned up and I didn't realize. So.
Oh no, sorry. You're good. So go ahead, Eli. What's your ranking? Start from the bottom and work your way up to number 1.
My number 10 is sadly Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
I know that some people are gonna not like me for that, but I don't care.
I don't blame you.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man, and then No Way Home, Far From Home, and then Homecoming.
Homecoming's your favorite Spider-Man movie? Oh no, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie?
And then number 2 is Into the Spider-Verse, and then Just Like You. I mean, not just like, sorry.
You spoiled my list.
Hey, sorry.
It's okay. We'll talk about that in a minute. Go ahead, Christian. You want to take it?
Are we doing all Spider-Man movies or live action Spider-Man movies?
Well, I mean, I was just talking about all Spider-Man movies, like mostly live action, but also like the Spider-Verse movies.
Okay, so I only did the live action ones, but I very easily can throw in the animated stuff. So, okay, starting at number 10.
I did say live action, didn't I? Yeah, sorry, that was my bad.
That's okay. Amazing Spider-Man 2. And it's kind of a mess. It's still kind of a fun watch, but man, it's a mess. There is some stuff that works really well in that, but it's just convoluted. There's way too much stuff. Number 9, Spider-Man 3. I love some dancing, but maybe not that way. Amazing Spider-Man is number 8. While I love it, I think they make Andrew Garfield is too cool and too sexy to be Spider-Man. Peter Parker is not cool, right? No. Like Miles is cool, but like Peter is not cool. Yeah. So yeah. it works now. I think we can readjust a little bit, but like he's too suave, his hair's too cool, he's way too charming, after that is Far From Home is the second one. I love that movie. I actually really love all of the Tom
I think it's
Holland
good.
movies.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I don't know what it is. I think I'm just a sucker. I fell for it. Like Zendaya and Tom Holland, I love them.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is. But yeah, Far From Home. After that is Homecoming. Love Homecoming. And then the first Raimi Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Right. That's that. No Way Home is next. My number 3 is Spider-Man 2, and then it's Into the Spider-Verse, and then Across the Spider-Verse for my number 1. So
yeah. Here, this is eerily identical to mine, but not completely. So number 10, we got Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 9 is Spider-Man 3.
Mhm.
Number 8 is The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 7 is Spider-Man Far From Home.
Jeez,
Number
they
6.
are.
What's that?
We're like exact so far.
Yeah, so far. Number 6 is actually the first Raimi Spider-Man.
Okay.
Number 5 is Homecoming. Number 4 is No Way Home. Number 3 is Into the Spider-Verse. Number 2 is Spider-Man 2.
There it is.
And number 1 is Spider-Man Across the Universe. So those number 1 and number 2 I had a really, really hard time with, because I absolutely like Spider-Man 2. So if we just had to stick purely to live action, I still think that's a perfect Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
Raimi's Spider-Man 2 is just amazing. But man, these movies had to come along and ruin everything.
I did my little oh god, this lighting it just never works. I posted it on my Instagram, so if you guys check out my Instagram, it's on my stories. It's like a 20-30 minute doodle from last night, but it's kind of inspired by oh my god, I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, I like sometimes when you can see his face under the mask, like you can see like his nose and his cheekbones. Really there's another artist who like his feet, like it looks like he's wearing socks, so you see all his toes underneath that, which I think is like a really cool touch.
That is cool.
But anyway,
but yeah, so that's our rankings for the Spider-Man movies. Anything else you guys want to add to this conversation on?
Next week there's another movie coming out which just lifted its embargo, by the way.
Oh yeah. So that's not this weekend, right? But the weekend after?
I think it's this weekend. Is it not this weekend?
I think it's like Father's Day weekend.
Oh, you're right. I
think. But yeah.
Also, this is way left field. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, but Billboard released their top 100 Disney movies or Disney songs of all time.
Oy.
Yeah, it was pretty painful. I don't hate it because I agree with their number 1 pick, but they have some things that are like.
Go ahead and spoil it. What's number 1?
Well, number 1 is Part of Your World.
Part of Your World.
Yeah, which I agree.
Yeah,
That's also my number 1.
100%.
What I didn't like was I think either like number 8 or number 12 was We Don't Talk About Bruno. I'm like, that song was okay, but dude, top 15 of all time.
Lower.
So
yeah, please.
This is another topic for another podcast, but what is your favorite Disney song of all time? So it doesn't even have to be your favorite Disney movie. We'll sign off on this. It doesn't have to be your favorite Disney movie either. What is your favorite Disney song of all time? Like if you were just to put one on right now and just jam out to it, what would it be?
It's Part of Your World. I love that song.
Part of Your World,
yeah,
is incredible.
Friends on the Other Side.
Oh, that's a good one.
From what? What is that from?
From Princess and the Frog.
Oh,
Friends from the Other Side, the Shadow Man song. So yes, I love Part of Your World as well. It's a classic song, and I love The Little Mermaid. I love Ariel. I love all of that. But my favorite Disney song, and it's just constantly gets inside my head because I think it's so good. Just the, Alan Menken and Howard Shore, it's this incredible collaboration. And this kind of harkens back to a lot of their earlier stuff, like on Broadway. It reminds me so much. even though a lot of stuff from The Little Mermaid does too, but the Hercules soundtrack is just totally reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors. It's got that vibe to it. It's got like all this really great stuff. So I Won't Say I'm in Love by Meg. I adore that song so much. It's not my favorite Disney movie by any means. Like, I like Hercules and it's fine, but that song is just so perfectly written. It's beautifully sang. Susan Egan, like, she is just magnificent voice actress and singer. Like, she's incredible. That whole scene is just beautiful, but the song is just got this really cool like doo-wop vibe to it, and it's just very catchy. You got the muses into it. It's just I love that song so much.
So that is the only song from Hercules on the top 100 list from Billboard.
Oh, really? Okay, that's
and
good.
It ranks at number 34.
That's not bad.
If I had an honorable mention, I love is it Reflections from Mulan? I love that song.
Reflections is fantastic.
Lea Salonga, man. God damn.
Yeah. No, but yeah, Part of Your World is highly up there too. We need to do a podcast episode just on Disney songs.
Yeah.
I feel like I agree with Arturo. The Bare Necessities.
Bare Necessities is fantastic. It's fantastic. All right, you guys. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for checking out the show, whether you're listening or watching. We really, really appreciate it. I also want to just talk a little bit about some of the podcasts we got going on Comic-Con Radio now. We got a few new shows on there. We got the Pastrami Paranormal. I don't want to mess up the names. I know the names of them. And then you have the one hosted by me, which is It Can't Rain All the Time, a 90s podcast. That one's pretty easy. That one's pretty simple. What's the articulated? Sorry, my brain isn't.
Oh, we're doing a toy one too, like just a general.
Yes, Articulated, which is a lot of fun. It's got it's Christian and Jason and Nolan, right?
Yeah.
So the Can't Rain All the Time, a 90s podcast, has Christian on it pretty regularly. We're gonna keep it that way. Pastrami Paranormal is myself, Nolan, and Rebecca, as we talk about all kinds of things, pop culture and paranormal and all that fun stuff. Also got My Public Life as an American Nerd. It's kind of my thing. Just wanted it's a selfless plug right there. I'm just gonna plug that. We often have Pastrami Nation guests on there as well. So that's a lot of fun. That's an audio only podcast. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also find this podcast about a week or so after we do the live stream on those formats as well.
Geek Galaxy and Yam and the Boys.
Geek Galaxy with Yam and the Boys. You can find that on Apple Podcasts as well. Spotify, wherever. That one's a lot of fun. You really, really like doing that one. So yeah, those are new episodes weekly. So all of these podcasts are going to have new stuff coming out weekly. So definitely, certainly check them out. Christian, where can they find you?
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Christian Nacorda, no space or no underscore.
Awesome. And you can find me at Kevin_Hoskinson or Kevin Hoskinson at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. The works. All right.
Well,
what?
Not even me. Don't.
You can't.
I know.
I'm not allowing you to. You're only 16. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for checking it out. And like I said, like, share, and tell all your friends about us, man. We will be back here next Tuesday with the Pastrami Nation Brick Therapy. There's some really cool sets that just came out that I really want to talk about. So we will discuss those and talk about those when the time is right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.